Today we have a 3 palettes, 3 looks video. Well, technically it's 4 palettes, but I'm doing 3 looks with the 4 palettes. Hi and welcome if you're new here. My name is Rachel, and if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. Look number 1 is combining the 2 singles collection that Odens released for holiday, the Merry Christmas and Christmas Eve palettes that they had released a few years ago, but now they've released them in single shadow form. So I did create a look combining the 2 palettes. The second look is with the Starborn Cosmetics Nascent collection or Nascent palette, and this is a new influencer brand by Bad to the Brow, which is her username, but her real name is Millie. And I was really excited to be able to feature this palette today, the very first palette from the brand. So I did create a look with that. I have already created a look previously to this video, so this was the second look with the palette that I've created. And then the third and final look, which you're seeing right now on my eyes, is with the Gourmande Girls Bleeding Hearts palette. Very excited to feature this on the channel. Definitely different inside than I thought it was going to be. There's a lot more variety. I kind of thought it was just going to be a berry palette, but we've definitely got a variety of tones. And as you can see, I created a deep dark smoky look with this palette. So I will put timestamps down below if you are interested in skipping around. I will also link these 3 websites, these brands' websites down below. I don't think all of the palettes are currently available at the time of posting, but I will link the websites there. I also list everything that is on my face in every single look in the description box. And I would love to know your thoughts as I'm going through these palettes. What do you think about them? Are you picking them up? Did you pick them up? Are you going to put them on a wish list? Are you just here to watch me do some looks and maybe get inspired to shop your stash? Because that's always a great thing as well. And I just want to say this is not a final review on any of these palettes. I've only used them once or twice, so I will feature them in a future video once I've had a chance to really use them and test them out. But this is just kind of a first impression or a second impression, just playing with the makeup on camera with you guys. So anyway, would love to know your thoughts, and I'm going to send you off to the first look now. Okay, so the first look I'm going to combine the 2 holiday single shadow collections from Odens. Of course, these came out at the end of last year and I have yet to use them, but that's what today is for. I am going to create a look combining these 2 palettes. Now, let me just kind of give you some information about this launch. I'm surprised that they decided to do this. I thought that that big holiday ice crystal palette was their only holiday collection. And then when they said they were releasing this collection, I was a little surprised, A, that they were doing another holiday collection on top of the ice crystal, but also B, because the format of this I think is a little interesting. So anyway, let's talk about this release. What year was it that they originally released these 2 palettes? The original holiday palettes, 2023, was it? 2022 or 2023? I'm not recalling exactly. Let me see if I can just Google it.
A few moments later.
2022. Wow, time flies. Isn't that crazy? Then the next year they re-released them in addition to 2 other palettes, the Hey Reindeer and the Snow Dream palettes. So this is now kind of the 3rd iteration of the palettes, but they're doing them in singles instead of like an actual palette. So first we have the Christmas Eve palette. This is the original. This is one of my favorite palettes from the brand. I remember one of the years I did an Odens palette ranking. I can link my latest Odens palette ranking down below. This was my favorite palette. It was linked, and I'm not a blue girl, as you well know, but I was very impressed. So this is the new collection with the singles. So a couple of things to note. With the singles collection, there's 1 less shadow than in the original palette. The original palette has 16 shades. The singles have 15 shades, probably just based on their empty magnetic palettes can only handle 15, so they extracted 1 shade. I am a little sad to say that in both of the palettes that they re-released, they have taken out 1 dark matte, which personally I do love having a couple of dark matte options. Of course, there is still a dark matte option here. And then I am also going to link down below my friend Millie from Bad to the Brow. She did a very in-depth review video on these palettes, swatched each shade side by side, new and old, talked about the differences and similarities between all the shades. I'm not going to do that today. Of course, I'm going to show you swatches, just like full arm swatches or like, you know, full swatches of the palettes. But she really goes into depth if you really want to know the details, because some of the shades don't match. A lot of them do, but some of them don't. So it's just something to be aware of. So that's the Christmas Eve palette. Really love. This is the Merry Christmas, the original. Really love this palette too. So beautiful. I mean, so gorgeous. That's the original. And then the new we have here. So again, pretty similar in terms of shades, colors, undertones, not completely matching everything. But of course, they're doing it in a different format, so I don't know how they would be able to match them all exactly. If you're curious about which shade from each palette has been taken out, in this palette, it's the black, the matte black. So, I mean, maybe that's good because probably most people have a matte black in their collection. And for the Christmas Eve, the one that's extracted is this dark blue up here. So they have kept this dark blue, but they've gotten rid of this dark blue. So anyway, I would love to know your thoughts, of course, on this collection. I know it's probably pretty polarizing. The new, I'm going onto Odens' site. The original palettes retail for $43.90. The singles, like if you get them in a magnetic palette, the Christmas Eve is $76.08 and the Merry Christmas is $71.83. Those are, it looks like on sale. I don't know if it's just like discounted because you're getting them in a bundle. If you want to buy both of the palettes, it's $139.52. So that's quite pricey. You can also buy the single shadows individually as well. And that's kind of where I'm going to just give my 2 cents in terms of who I think this is right for is if you missed out on one of these palettes, okay, and you really, really wanted them, then yeah, okay, I can see maybe why you would want to pick one of these up. They are quite pricey, and that's up to you if it's worth it to you or not. The other thing that I think this would be good for somebody, if you saw these palettes originally, you missed out on them, or you know, you don't own these palettes, I'm talking the originals, if you don't own the original palettes and you like shades from both palettes and you want to create your own palette with a handful of shades from each palette. If you're like, oh, in the Christmas Eve palette, I really like this shimmer, this matte, and this matte. And in the Merry Christmas palette, I like this matte, this shimmer, and this shimmer. Oh, I'm going to create my own palette with just those shades. You know what I'm saying? So you can customize your own palette pulling from both color stories. I think that's where I personally would say the person who would benefit the most from this release. Personally. So anyway, that's all I got to say about it. Of course, let me know your thoughts. Did you pick up the singles? Do you have these 2 palettes originally? Because like I said, these 2 palettes are some of my favorite palettes from Odens'. I have only swatched the new ones. I haven't used them on my eyes yet. The mattes feel very nice, very silky, very pigmented. Some of the shimmers are a little bit on the squishy side, a little bit on the texture side, which is not always my favorite thing, but of course I'm gonna try them out on my eyes. And I did receive this collection in PR from the brand. I do not have a code with Odens', but there's plenty of creators out there who do. So if you are looking for a code, I'm sure you can find one from another creator. But yeah, I mean, I love the packaging on these. I think they're so cute and stunning, and it's a soft matte touch with some foil details. They're really packable and small. I have used Odens' singles in the past, and generally speaking, I really like them. So yeah, I'm happy that they're bringing back these color stories, and most of all, for those of you who want to customize a palette based on these 2 color stories, I think that would be really beneficial. So, okay, enough yapping. Let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna go into the Christmas Eve. I keep calling, yeah, is that right? Christmas Eve? Actually, it doesn't even say the name on the palette. This is the Christmas Eve. I'm going into the Christmas Eve palette. I'm gonna go into this green shade, which if I look at the original palette, I can know the name. Just now, right here. I'm gonna put this through my crease. I have already primed my eyes. I'm keeping this more in the outer edge. Oh, that was my front door, sorry. I'm keeping this more in the outer edge of my crease. I'm leaving the inner part of my crease free for another color. I'm gonna go in still into the Christmas Eve palette, and I'm gonna take up this really pretty yellow color called, the print is so small on here, Leah Mob Tart. Don't know what that is, but sounds kind of yummy. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put this in the inner part of my crease. Yeah, this shade is very pigmented. So I'm gonna go really lightly into the crease with this shade here. Now I'm gonna go into the Merry Christmas palette and I'm gonna go into this shade right here, which is called Christmas Tree. And I'm gonna put this in the outer corner and bring it into my crease a little bit as well. So off camera, I just put the NYX Glitter Primer all over my lid. I wanna go into the Merry Christmas and I'm gonna pick up the shade New Year, which is like the deep emerald green, and put this all over my lid. So this one definitely feels a little textured. It's very loosely pressed in the pan. So I just was very careful. I tried not to pick up too much on my finger so that I can spread it out. Wow, that is very bright, very saturated color. Wow, that look went from 0 to 100 due to that shimmer. And now I want to pick up the shade Snowman right here. It's like an iridescent kind of topper. It has like a tan base with bluish green reflect, and I want to just tap that right in the middle. Did that do anything? Maybe not. Maybe it made the center of my lid just a little brighter. I'm gonna go back into that emerald green New Year on my pinky just to try to get a little more into my inner corner, because that shade is very pigmented. Yeah, see, because it has chunk to it, it's kind of getting stuck in places I don't want it to be. And like, as I'm picking it up, I'm more tapping it than I am swiping it. So I can control how much product gets on my finger, but I did kind of get it in my inner corner. I think that's the best I got right now. I'm gonna get some more makeup on my face and I will come back so we can continue with the look. All right, I am back. Let's continue. I'm gonna go back into the Merry Christmas palette, into that deep dark green with a flat definer brush and just push this up against my lower lash line. And I'm actually gonna go into the Christmas Eve palette, into this kind of more olive shade called Softly, and blend that out. I think I wanna pull in that original matte shade up here called Just Now onto my lower lash line, so I'm just gonna pick it up and blend it out there as well. For my inner corner, there's nothing really in these palettes. Well, first of all, I will say, I would not choose to use any of these shimmers as an inner corner highlight just because of how they're pressed so loosely in the pan. They're very flaky. Some of them have a chunk to them. Not something I prefer for my inner corner. So the lightest matte that's gonna go with this look is this bright green from the Merry Christmas called Best Wish. I probably am going to have to layer a matte white over it, but let's give it a shot. Also gonna take this up onto kind of the inner part of my lid just to blend with that shimmer. Yeah, I think I do want to pull in a matte white just to get it a little brighter. I will do that in just a moment, but in the meantime, I'm going to put this white cream gel liner in the shade Exit in my waterline from ColourPop. So let me go pop a matte white into my inner corner, finish up the rest of my makeup, and I will come back and show you the final look and just give you my initial thoughts on this collection. You guys, this finished look is beautiful. I know I talk about neutrals all the time and how much I love neutrals, but when I do a colorful look that looks like this saturated and just, this is really pretty. I really, really like this. The shades that I used, the mattes, were very pigmented because of how this pressing is. I don't know if it's like the basket weave texture or just the fact that it's in a single pan. The mattes are pressed a little lighter in the pan, and they feel very silky, but also pigmented. It's a very interesting matte formula, and I actually really, really like the matte formula, both in the singles and in the actual palettes that they release, generally speaking. Now, these shimmers are also pressed a lot lighter in the pan, and because of that texture, they do tend to feel a little bit more textured on the eye. There's going to be a lot of fallout if you're not careful, either just picking them up very lightly from the pan and building up on your eye. If you go in with your finger or a brush and take a ton of product off of it, you're probably going to get a lot of fallout. Or either wetting your brush or putting down a glitter primer, a shimmer primer, something like that. But I will say once they're on the lid, the effect is absolutely beautiful because they have that thickness to them, if that makes sense. So, you know, I don't love a chunky textured shimmer, but I was able to smooth this one out because I picked it up little by little on my finger, smoothed it out, slowly built it up. And I was doing my eye makeup first, which helps a lot because I was able to wipe away any fallout. So anyway, this looks beautiful. It's giving Christmas, but it's also giving St. Patrick's Day. So we love that. So, I mean, in terms of my thoughts, this is not a full review. Like I already said, I didn't do full on comparison swatches going through every shade. I've only now used a handful of shades from each palette. I have to keep using them before I review them. But I do feel like they're pretty on par with the past single shadows that I've used in the past from Odens Eye. And I kind of think like, my personal thoughts is this is now the third iteration or third time they're releasing this color story. I kind of would like this to be the last time. I don't personally love when brands say something is limited edition and then they keep bringing it back over and over again. I understand that especially after the first release of this collection, people were so much having FOMO that they missed out on it if they missed out on it. That I can totally understand, and I totally understand why the re-release came the second time because, yeah, I mean, people were really upset. I remember people in my comments, and at the time, like, I had purchased the palettes myself. I didn't review them, like, on release, and I was a very, I'm still a very small creator, but at the time I had even less subscribers, so I didn't get a ton of comments, but I remember seeing the general feeling was people were really sad that it was gone. But I think now, okay, this should be kind of the last time it's released, and I already said, I like the fact that you can combine shades from both palettes to create your own palette, to build your own palette. You don't even have to buy the exterior palette if you already have a magnetic palette. And what I think I'm going to do, because I have the originals, I think I am going to break these apart and actually even go into my other Odens Eye collection, singles collection, and create my own palettes, with these shades, with those shades, and do a build my own palette situation. So I think that'll be fun for me, and maybe you could do the same, or maybe at this point, you guys, we probably can shop our stash and get what we need. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. I am excited to have these in my collection. I'm not trying to sound ungrateful at all whatsoever, but I do want to just give you my honest thoughts because, yeah, I want you to make good purchasing decisions if that's something you're thinking about. But this eye look is stunning. I can't deny it. It's not bad quality. It's great quality, fun color story. I've really enjoyed these color stories from the get-go. So anyway, yeah. I'm going to send you off to the next look now. All right, look 2 is very special. It is going to be with the Nascent palette from a new indie brand by an influencer. So I did mention this whole video is Millie themed, right? I mentioned Millie, whose username is Bad to the Brow, in the last look, how she uploaded a really good video with the Odens Eye collection. But this is her new brand, Starborn Cosmetics. The Nascent palette is their first release. So how exciting is that? I love the packaging, love this like foiled blue, very celestial. And then on the inside, we have this beautiful kind of moody, grungy color story. I have already created a look with this because I've had this for quite a while now. It was sent to me in PR, so thank you, Millie, so much. I have already created a look for short form. I'm pretty sure it should be up on YouTube Shorts. I will link it down below. And I created a neutral look. And it was the look I was wearing in my 2025 ranking all the palettes I tried in the year video, and I had a lot of people ask about it, and I couldn't reveal what it was at the time. So that look that I'm wearing in that video, I created with this palette, and I loved how it came out. It was so beautiful. So this palette, as you can see, is very matte heavy. There are 8 mattes and 4 shimmers. All 4 of the shimmers are so stunning, different textures, different undertones. I am gonna link Millie's reveal video down below where she goes through all the shades and explains the whole story behind the name of the brand and all of that. She can do that much better than me, so I will link that down below. But that is very exciting. I'm so excited that she has started a brand. Congratulations. And thank you again for sending this my way. Let me give you some information about the palette. So it is going to launch on January 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern time. The price will be $47. The pans are 26mm magnetic and not labeled. It is cruelty-free. The palette was made in China, and Starborn Cosmetics is an indie brand out of Boston, Massachusetts. So yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Thanksgiving, when I went home, not last year, the year before, I actually got to meet Millie in person for the first time. We've been talking online forever. So I was really excited, really excited when I heard that she was starting her own brand. So let me know what you think about this. Do you also follow Millie? If you don't, you should definitely go subscribe to her channel. She does a lot of really intricate detail work with especially shimmer shadows, talking about shifts and comparisons and all of that. She's very talented when it comes to that. And these shimmers are absolutely gorgeous. One thing that she did note in her video was that these shimmers are not squishy. They're not wet feeling. They're more of a dry texture, but they're still very multidimensional. Dry is not, in my opinion, I've said this before, when I say something's dry, a shimmer's dry, I mean that in a complimentary way, not a derogatory way, because I don't love an ultra squishy, thick shimmer. And yeah, so far so good. So anyway, I really want to use the shade Genesis, which is like an iridescent. Oh my goodness. I want to use this shadow, and I know there's a lot of blues in here, but I think I want to kind of go a little warmer, maybe play with these tones. I don't know, we'll see, but definitely want to use this shimmer. I'm going to take the shade Dawn right here, this orange. I'm going to put this through my crease, and I'm actually going to put it all over my lid as well. Kind of just spread it and use this as a base. Something else that she mentioned about her formulas with the mattes is she wanted to make buildable mattes, buildable shadows in general, so that you can kind of shear things out if you want to, or you can build them up. You can use the mattes as bases for your shimmers, so you can do just like well, kind of what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to use this as a base and pop that shimmer on top. That's my intention. That shadow, like in and of itself, I would just wear without even a shimmer. Just use this all over my lid like this. Put on some mascara and out the door. It's so pretty. You guys know I love warm tones. I'm going to take that same shade on a smaller brush and just blend it on my lower lash line. I want to deepen up the outer corner with the shade Origin right here, which is a really dark brown. Really nicely pigmented. And once again, I'm going to take that same shade and put it on my lower lash line. So I just put the Shine On Shimmer Shadow Enhancer from Clina and Bad to the Brow, Millie. Another one of my favorite things she's done, all over my lid. And I'm now gonna go in with Genesis, that gorgeous shimmer that I wanted to use. It looks beautiful. So I'm just gonna press that. That is, oh, I love it. Absolutely beautiful. Just as I knew it would be. I kind of want to do something a little fun and different for the inner corner. I want to use the shade Fruition right here, which is kind of like a deeper lime green. I'm going to go in with this first, and then I'm going to pull a matte white from another palette and layer it on top. But I think like a pop of green in the inner corner could be fun. All right, and this is the finished look. What do you think? think it came out so pretty. I do really like this pop of green in the inner corner. It makes it a little more fun and colorful. Of course, if I had just gone with just a matte white or just like a champagne shimmer for the inner corner, it would have looked a little more neutral. Neutral in my opinion, because I think warm tones are neutrals for me. But yeah, so I mean, my first and second impressions on this palette are I really like the shimmers a lot. And knowing Millie, I'm not really surprised by that. The shimmer that's on my lid right now, Genesis, is just absolutely beautiful. I layered it on top of that orange matte. So of course that orange is really popping through, but it does have, it has some other reflect in there as well. And I think Protostar is the other one I used in my first look. And it's just got so many colorful particles in there. The mattes are good. Like, I have absolutely no issues with the mattes that I've used so far. They blended nicely. They showed up pigmented when I built them up. If I used like a denser brush, like for my outer corner, it built up really easily. When I used a slightly more fluffy brush for my crease, it blended out more in a diffused action. So yeah, can't ask for anything more than that. So I will definitely continue using this palette. I will put it in a palette review in the future. But first and second impressions, I really enjoy it. Now, I have to say I am slightly biased because I know Millie and I consider her one of my friends. So, you know, take that with into consideration. But I would, of course, tell you if there was anything majorly wrong with my experience. So far, so good. Let me know if you're gonna pick this up. Let me know. Anyway, I will send you off to the next look now. All right, the third and final look is going to be with the Gourmande Girls Bleeding Hearts palette. This is in collaboration with Doodles by the Bunny as per usual, and it is in their usual rectangular format. When I saw the sneak peek of the cover, I was expecting, you know, a typical berry palette, pinks and purples, but the inside is a little unexpected in my opinion. We have much more than that. And in fact, if we look, there's only really 1, 2 pinks. I mean, I guess this shimmer up here, well, it's not really pink once you swatch it, and then 2 kind of reddish shades, but we do have a mix of quite a few other tones in here. So I thought that was a very interesting color story, definitely unexpected. So this palette is launching on Wednesday, January 21st at 8 a.m. Pacific time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern time. It is going to retail for $56.99. It is cruelty-free. It was made in China. And Gourmande Girls is an indie brand out of Austin, Texas. And I do have an affiliate code with Gourmande Girls. It's Rachel, and it will save you 10% off your purchase. And I did receive this in PR from the brand. Now, let me just pull out the Love palette from Natasha Denona, because I kind of, in my mind, thought that the color stories reminded me of each other. I have not even held them up next to each other yet to really think, like, to really compare. I mean, obviously not the same at all whatsoever. I do feel like the Gourmande Girls one has a few pops of blue. It's a lot more colorful, I would say, like more saturated colorful, and this one is a little more muted colorful. But you know, they both have purples, a black, reds and pinks. So yeah, interesting. Definitely very interesting. Of course, in terms of like formulas, they're not the same at all whatsoever. I mean, I haven't tried this one yet, but I'm familiar with the Gourmande Girls formula. It's not the same as the Natasha Denona, but anyway. So yeah, I'm excited to create a look with this. This is a first impression. I have not used this palette yet. I have swatched it, but that's it. I haven't used it. And upon swatching, this shade Glass Heart really drew me in. It is a multi-chrome that has all kinds of different colors, like really interesting. So I think I want to use this shade today. It's got like, it almost looks like a rainbow, like so many different colors depending on how you look at it. I have a risky idea. I don't know why, but I kind of want to try something a little different. I have an eyeshadow stick from Hard Candy. This is their Shadow Marker Matte Lights Out. Is the shade Lights Out? Yes. Yes, the shade is Lights Out, which is just a black eyeshadow stick. I want to use this as a base, basically just draw over my entire lid and blend it out as a base for that really fun shimmer. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm scared. I haven't done something like that in a really long time, but let's do it. So I'm kind of just gonna do that kind of messy and then use my finger to just blend it out. Now, of course, this doesn't have to be perfect. I still have green on my inner corner from look 2, which I did this morning. This is the same day. Yeah, that worked out perfectly. Now again, I don't need it to look clean. I'm gonna end up blending some matte shadows along it. I'm gonna go off camera, do the other hand. I'm gonna do the other eye, and I'm also gonna get this green out from my inner corner from the Nascent palette look that I did earlier today. I'll be right back. So I will say this shadow stick from Hard Candy was really easy to blend. Like, very easy. It didn't tug at my lid. I was able to obviously just blend it with my finger, and it spread out really nicely. A lot of shadow sticks aren't like that, so that's very exciting. Okay, I'm gonna go into the palette. I'm gonna pick up the shade Dolorosa right here, this dark gray. I'm gonna pick it up very lightly on a fluffy brush and blend this into my crease. I'm gonna pick up that shimmer that I was talking about, Glass Heart. I'm not gonna put down any sort of shimmer primer or anything. Wow, this is an incredible shade. It is so beautiful. I'm gonna put this pretty much in my inner to outer 2/3 of my eye. Just blending that where the black base is. It is so pretty. Wow, that is so gorgeous. That color is beautiful. All right, I'm back with some more makeup on my face. I just took one of the Ravi Beauty eyeliners. This one is in the shade Onyx. It's just the black one. I put it through my waterline, and I also kind of transferred it slightly down onto my lash line. I'm gonna take that shadow stick from Hard Candy and blend it out a little bit more. And then I'm gonna take a pencil brush with no extra product on it and just blend that out. And then just as a final finishing touch, I'm gonna take the shade Midnight Morning right here, which is like a satiny shade that's black with like really small gold reflect. I'm gonna take that on a little tiny brush, spray the brush, and then kind of put this just more on the inner part of my lower lash line. Yeah, that added just a little bit of sparkle. It's probably hard to see on camera. For my inner corner, I'm gonna go into Heartstring, which is like the really light gray. I may have to layer a matte white on top. Let's see how bright it is. I think I do want it slightly brighter. That looks pretty good, but because the eye look is so dark, I do want a really bright inner corner. So I'm just gonna reach into a palette to grab a matte white. I'm gonna finish up my look, come back to show you the final look and give you kind of my initial thoughts on this palette and wrap up the video. All right, and this is the finished look number 3. What do you think? I feel very smoky in this, and I actually love it. Like, this would be a perfect date night, nighttime look. And I'm excited that I was able to create something like that with this palette. I don't typically do anything this deep, dark, and smoky, but when I do, I wonder why I haven't. And I really like how I was able to put this down as a base to really like deepen it up, make it even more smoky, let the shimmer pop even more. So yeah, I'm so excited to continue using this palette. I did end up going over the inner corner with a matte white just to brighten it up a little bit. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I was really excited to be able to feature all of these palettes in today's video. I would love to know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you own any of these palettes? Are you wanting to pick up any of these palettes? Are you thinking about picking any of them up? Are you just here to watch the video and watch me create some looks and maybe shop your stash? Let me know down below, and I will see you very soon in another video. Bye.